Hello my friends and welcome! As a fan of FromSoft and especially the Dark Souls games, I really enjoy getting some insight from the developer's point of view. Interviews have been a great way to peek beyond the veil and see how some of the development process works. And at a fundamental level, who these people are. Here's another interview with Miyazaki I haven't covered. It's nothing new, but I'm trying to catch up on the interviews I missed earlier this year. Let's jump right in. Here Miyazaki talks about game design, and how they handled crafting an open world for Elden RIng. In terms of overall game design, the sense of accomplishment is a theme that has maintained since Dark Souls and the like. As well as that, we placed major focus on a sense of adventure that allows the player to engage with this huge world, with its many unknowns and threats, at their liberty. From an actual production perspective, the game became far bigger than anything we'd made before. So you could also say the responsibilities handed to staff, other than myself, were much greater this time. To put it another way, there are many staff here who now have grown and gained experience over the years, and the fact that so much could be entrusted to them was one of the many reasons we decided to make Elden RIng when we did. Miyazaki goes on to touch a bit on the Ashes of War system. Flexibility was definitely part of it. We wanted to put an emphasis on giving the player more freedom in various ways, and the Ashes of War represent a link in the series of such efforts. The goal was to increase the degree of freedom in the context of strengthening your weapons and customizing them in your own way. And I think this feeling of weapon customization ended up being something quite expansive and fun. Also, the skill system itself was created with Dark Souls 3 as a means of improving the distinct characteristics of each weapon category and entrench the nuance of power necessary for battling in a high fantasy world of myth and legend, which resulted in a greater range of ostentatious or idiosyncratic skills in Elden RIng. Miyazaki touches on spirit ashes and role-playing aspects of summoning spirits. The spirit ashes were essentially picked from enemies, but it came down to how they worked in gameplay. Where possible during the selection and design process, we tried to maintain conscious of each summon's unique qualities and what they brought to the game. Then on top of that, a layer of personality was added from a role-playing perspective. While this wasn't true of every single one, I personally have a bit of a thing for the role-playing aspect, so it's something I hope players can enjoy in that sense as well. Hidetaka talks bosses and how they fit into an open world. When we start designing an area, the setting establishes from very early which boss will appear in that area, particularly for the major ones. In this way, the boss character's gameplay forms a premise for the area design, and the boss gameplay too can be adjusted based on the map in which it appears. Miyazaki then goes on to highlight his favorite boss from Elden RIng. It's very difficult to make my mind up, but I'd have to say Radahn. I find him fascinating as an individual character, and I'm fond of the Radahn Festival as a situation, as well as capturing that literal festive atmosphere and sense of exultation. I suppose it has that lonely and oppressive feeling you could associate with our games. It feels like only yesterday we were talking about the Radahn Festival idea. No one on the team took me seriously at the time. If there's a runner-up prize, it would go to Roderick and Rykard. He then talks about which games inspired creating this new open-world Souls game. There wasn't one specific game that served as inspiration, but we've enjoyed many classic open-world games from a player's perspective, and each one has given us a unique and wonderful incentive. There's no end to this list of titles, but the Elder Scrolls series and The Witcher 3 are on there, plus The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as a more recent example. Miyazaki closes the interview explaining what effects Elden RIng's success has had on him personally. As a member of the production team, the fact that such a huge number of people are playing Elden RIng brings me enormous joy, and has come as such a great surprise. Speaking both for myself and on behalf of everyone at FromSoft, as game developers, we've always felt exceedingly fortunate and this time has really driven that feeling home. I'm not really sure if you'd call it a mental state, but our stance toward game production hasn't really been affected. Up until now, we've made the games that we ourselves find fun, and I don't imagine that'll change going forward. We'll continue to make new, fun games in this way. I believe that's the best method for conveying our delight and appreciation to the players. Hidetaka really comes off as a humble and appreciative man. I feel like he really deserves the success he created through the Souls series and beyond. That's all I have for today. As always, consider a like and sub, it means a lot. Have fun and stay safe, my friends.